Good evening and thank you for joining us here at GBS News 9. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge. We have a lot lined up for you, but first, here are the highlights.
These proceedings are time-bound. It's not so much about the situation in which His Excellency the Vice President finds himself.
Down to the wire. Senate not relenting on Deputy President Rigathi Gachagwa's impeachment motion even after the DP was taken ill, skipping the afternoon proceedings. Presidential Awards Kenya ceremony. President Ruto leads Kenyans to celebrate youth achievements at the prestigious Presidential Awards Kenya ceremony at State House, Nairobi, with 2,397 participants receiving the highly coveted Gold Award. A 5.6 magnitude earthquake hit Turkey at the southern eastern province of Malaysia, causing a significant damage to buildings. So far, no casualties have been reported. Kenya's rising stars aim high as they gear up for a crucial match against Burundi in the semi-finals of the AFCON CECAFA qualifiers tomorrow at the Azam Complex Stadium after finishing the group stage unbeaten with 3 wins and a draw.
To begin our bulletin, the impeachment trial against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua took an unexpected halt on Thursday after the DP failed to show up during the afternoon session. Gachagua was scheduled to take the stand in the afternoon session. However, his legal team, led by Senior Counsel Paul Mwite, say they had received information that the Deputy President has been taken ill and is currently admitted at the hospital. Mwite requested the Senate Speaker Amson Kingi to provide his legal team time to monitor and progress of the DP. The Senate had to suspend the impeachment trial against the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua until 5 p.m. until when he still had not reappeared, thus forcing the Speaker Amson Kingi to introduce a supplementary motion that would see the Senate adjourn to Saturday. However, senators rejected the Saturday sitting, forcing the House to carry on with the impeachment motion without Gachagua as his lawyers led by Mwite retired. According to the Senate Speaker, the trial is a time-bound process. The impeachment hearing began on Wednesday at the Senate after the National Assembly approved the motion last week. It is expected to end today.
Senior Counsel Paul Mwite, your time started running.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, may I...
Let me just conclude, Senior. Your time started running at the time I requested you to usher in your witness. You indicated that you're getting hold of your witness. We'll give you all the time you need to get hold of your witness, but to let you know that the clock is running and it's running on your client. You can take all the time, but his time is running out. After 2 hours, he's not appeared, the chair will make a ruling pursuant to the rules of procedure.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, may I start first and foremost by expressing apologies and regrets that the Deputy President is not here, and by not being here, the inconvenience and delay caused to Mheshimiwa Speaker and to honorable senators. The position, Mheshimiwa Speaker, is that during that period that I went to try to find out why he wasn't here, because as Mheshimiwa Speaker knows, the Deputy President has been coming here absolutely punctually every day. The sad reality is that the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya has been taken sick, very sick, and as I address Mr. Speaker in this honorable House, Senators, he is in hospital, Mheshimiwa Speaker. That is a sad reality.
The Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, this afternoon failed to appear before the Senate as required after falling sick, according to his legal team leader, Paul Muite. The Deputy President, who was supposed to testify on the alleged charges raised against him before the Senate, had been in the Senate since morning, where the witnesses on the charges raised against him responded to questions from his lawyers, and his absential in the afternoon proceedings led to a stop of his impeachment proceedings for some time. Our very own Davis Karani has more.
The absence of the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who was supposed to testify against the 11 accusations raised against him in the Senate proceeding and a motion for his removal from the office, brought the House to a standstill at some point after the DP was reported ill, according to his legal team leader Paul Muite.
The Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya has been taken sick, very sick, and as I address Mr. Speaker in this honorable House, Senators, he is in hospital, Mheshimiwa Speaker. That is a sad reality.
Initially, Muite had communicated to the Speaker of the Senate on his failed attempts to get hold of his client, who had been scheduled to appear before the Senate to testify on the allegations charged against him before voting on either to impeach or retain him in the office by senators. But his absentia attracted the attention of the senior counsel James Orengo, who is representing the legal team for the National Assembly in the DP's impeachment motion and guiding the House. The senior counsel stated that the process which the DP is going through is a constitutional process, and the time for the impeachment and hearing is bounded in the Kenyan Constitution.
These proceedings are time-bound. It's not so much about the situation in which His Excellency the Vice President finds himself. It's about the Senate complying with the provisions of the Constitution.
The incident came in just an hour after the witnesses testifying against the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua had given their evidences and having been given rough time by Gachagua's legal team.
It was noted that these differences may have played a role in the final decision by Global Funds to terminate the tender processes, correct?
Correct.
Did that have anything to do with the Deputy President? According to the statement you've just read? It has nothing to do with the Deputy President.
The Speaker of the Senate had to abruptly end the motion as lawyers were allowed to work on the matter. Will Gachagua survive the sharp double sword of impeachment that is facing him?
I direct the Clerk of the Senate to circulate a supplementary order paper incorporating a notice of motion and a motion for adjournment sought. This being a procedural matter, the motion, if carried, will result in the Speaker gazetting Saturday, the 19th of October 2024 as a sitting day to conclude the hearing and determination of this matter. This being the last day allowed by the Constitution of Kenya for these proceedings to conclude.
Davis Karani, GBS News, Nairobi.
The government is facing calls to take stock of its fishermen and initiate a registration process that would allow them to fish in international waters. This comes after the release and repatriation of 3 fishermen who were arrested in Madagascar in July. Family members of the fishermen are urging the government not only to provide proper counseling but also to fully compensate the fishermen for the trauma they endured. They claim that during their time in incarceration, the fishermen often went without food. Here are the details.
It has been a rough 4 months for families of 3 fishermen arrested in July on foreign waters of Madagascar over what authorities say was illegal fishing. Their arrival at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport in wee hours of Thursday morning bring untold joy to family and friends who have been waiting for them from as early as 3 o'clock. The government says it has been on its toes following up on the matter since news of the arrest on foreign waters went viral.
We have been following closely this matter. Every step, every time they went to court, we have been receiving reports. We have been following this matter. And we just had to let the judicial process go on.
The three fishermen described their experience as one they would not wish upon anyone, citing the hardship of frequently going hungry and living in the condition they preferred not to describe. They stated that throughout their ordeal, they placed their hope entirely in the hands of the Kenyan authorities. The Blue Economy CS Hassan Joho has been engaged in securing their release as multi-ministry approach was employed to have the three return home at their earliest opportunity. The fishermen now want the government to actively involve itself in licensing fishermen, as they hold that were it not for the lack of relevant documentation, then they wouldn't have been arrested.
When we are doing licensing of fishing vessels, the first step is to have that vessel, like any other vessel, being registered by KMA, and we are the ones who give a letter of no objection to KMA so that they can go ahead and register that vessel.
The government is also asking those with vessels that operate beyond the Kenyan waters or within the Kenyan waters and have not registered them to do so, as well as register the crew on board so as to avert situation that would place Kenyans in jeopardy. Paris Kigo, GBS News.
The residents of Orao village in the Ugunja sub-county broke into song and dance when an American-based non-governmental organization donated uniforms to the entire student population of a local primary school. Each of the students at Orao Primary and Junior Secondary School received a full uniform kit that included socks, shoes, trouser and a shirt or skirt and blouse from Nguyu's Hand of Compassion based in the US. Here are the details. Moving on, in a pressing appeal for support, Haitian Prime Minister Gary Conille has called on Kenyan President William Ruto to deploy an additional 600 police officers to Haiti. This request comes amid ongoing violence from powerful gangs and as both nations intensify efforts to restore order in the beleaguered Caribbean nation. Here is more on the same.
In a critical plea for assistance, Haitian Prime Minister Gary Conille has urgently requested Kenyan President William Ruto to send an additional 600 police officers to Haiti.
The second part of my trip was with President Ruto and remind him of the urgency to reinforce the mission and send as soon as possible 600 police officers that together with the national police will join us in the battle we are waging.
This comes as the nation deals with rampant gang violence that continues to undermine stability and safety. Currently, 400 Kenyan police officers are already deployed as part of a UN-backed multinational security mission working to restore order in Haiti. This collaboration has seen recent success, including a pivotal operation in Tosil, where joint forces engaged in a shootout that left 20 gang members dead and the second in command, known as the Shoms, critically injured. As the violence escalates, Prime Minister Conille's appeal highlights the urgent need for global cooperation in restoring peace. The deployment of additional officers could be the key to turning the tide against gang violence and ensuring a safer future for the people of Haiti. Irene Juguna, GBS News.
The residents of Orao village in the Ugunja sub-county broke into song and dance when the American-based non-governmental organization donated uniforms to the entire student population of a local primary school. Each of the students at Orao Primary and Junior Secondary Schools received a full uniform kit that included socks, shoes, trouser and a shirt or skirt, and blue blouse from Nguyu's Hand Compassion based in the US. Here are the details.
The residents of Orao village in Ugunja sub-county erupted in song and dance as the American-based non-governmental organization Munguyu's Hand of Compassion generously donated uniforms to all students of a local primary school. Each of the students at Orao Primary and Junior Secondary School received a full uniform kit that included socks, shoes, trouser and a shirt or skirt and blouse from Nguyu's Hand of Compassion based in the U.S. During the donation event, Nguyu's Hand of Compassion Africa Director, Reverend Ayub Kayo, explained that the initiative arose from recognizing the community's needs. He emphasized that many African children often attend school without proper uniforms, negatively impacting their morale and self-esteem.
We identify needy schools and we give them, supply to them uniforms, everything from, underwears, socks, shoes, everything. They become brand new. Our founder is in the USA, is Steve Mongai, is the founder of this organization. And our vision is to dress needy children in the society. We felt like if you can touch a child, you can touch a destiny. And also discover that many kids in Africa, they go to school without proper uniform, which affects their morale and their self-esteem.
Munguyu's Hand of Compassion, founded by Steve Mongai, has now supported over 10 schools across Nakuru, Nyeri, and Siaya counties. Phoebe Wanjira, a Munguyu's Hand of Compassion official, revealed that the NGO has spent over 500,000 Kenyan shillings to provide uniforms for 168 students at the school.
We have spent 380 on the uniforms. The whole program has costed us around 500,000. This has been actually a donation from our president and other members who have given funds towards this initiative. Overall, I think we have spent over 500,000 to ensure that these children are well dressed, they are clothed. The impact should be in the long run, that we should be able to see these children achieving greater things when we have ensured that their self-esteem has been raised.
The school's head teacher, Nicholas Wasonga, and parent, Damaris Omengo, expressed their gratitude to the donors, highlighting the struggles local families face in providing uniforms for their children.
Say that I'm really very, very grateful about the program that is organized by the MHC based in America. I thank you very much, and this is just a beginning. I feel how I wish that you could continue assisting this community. It is really having a lot of problems. The poverty level is really very, very high. So I would want to take this chance to thank you so much for having given our learners the uniforms.
Nimefurahi na hii mgao ya kupatia watoto uniform na viatu. Sisi tu tumekosa kununua viatu na sweta ya watoto. Sasa nimepigia shukuru sana kwa hii maneno. Mungu asaidie watoto asome vizuri.
The initiative not only addressed the immediate need for proper attire but also aimed to empower the children, instilling in them confidence necessary to succeed in their academic pursuits. As the community celebrates this generous act, it remains hopeful for continued partnerships that will further uplift and support their youth.
Many thanks for joining this live broadcast. We have a lot lined up for you in our news segment tonight. But first, let us take a quick break. We'll be right back with even more.
Hello everyone! Welcome to Fun. Alright class, friends, do you know what we're going to make today? Yes, we're going to make a star. Now let's begin our class. Time to make. First, you're going to fold your paper into triangles. Ta-da! Now we're done with the star.
Hello, my name is Nyabio. I'm from Mahanim. Call this school a good school because the second my mom saw it, she saw it was Christian-based. And when I see Christian-based, that's what the character my mother wants from me. And I like the sports that we play for PE. Like sometimes we play table tennis, we can play football, we match, and on Fridays we have games. And we verse the teachers in football. And this is why I think the school is the best school your children can go to.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. You're still watching GBS News 9. In a vibrant ceremony held at the State House in Nairobi, President William Ruto today honored the accomplishments of 1,517 young Kenyans at the prestigious Presidential Awards Kenya event. The awards, which included 2,397 participants receiving the highly coveted Gold Award, highlighted the immense contribution of youth to community development. President Ruto emphasized the crucial role of young people in the nation's future, announcing a directive for the Public Service Commission to prioritize hiring Gold Award recipients and reaffirming his commitment to empowering the youth through key initiatives like the Hustler Fund and the Youth Enterprise Fund. Susan Nganga brings us more.
President William Ruto has today presided over the prestigious Presidential Awards Kenya ceremony at State House in Nairobi, recognizing the achievements of young Kenyans making a difference in their communities. In his address, President Ruto celebrated an impressive 1,517 young individuals, with 2,397 participants earning the coveted Gold Award. The president emphasized the crucial role of youth in national development and made a significant announcement that the Public Service Commission will prioritize hiring individuals who hold the President's Gold Award certificates.
This certificate to the level of gold is such a very premium certificate. And I think it's important to find ways through Public Service Commission that this certificate is given premium recognition when getting an opportunity for persons to be hired to public service.
This award ceremony celebrates those who have left a lasting impact on their communities and beyond, and provide an inspiring platform to encourage other young people to pursue the path of self-development through discipline, service, and contribution to the transformation of institutions, communities, and our nation.
President Ruto also laid out an ambitious vision for the future, aiming to expand the program to reach 1 million participants over the next 5 years.
And I am persuaded that through this scheme, I'm told there are 138,000 young people in this scheme. And the target is to have 1 million in the next 5 years. I want to commit here that we will do everything, and I want Waziri and your team to tell us what we need to do to make sure that we give more opportunities to our children between the ages of 14 and 24 to be part of this scheme.
Established in 1966 by Kenya's founding father Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, the Presidential Awards Kenya program is part of the Duke of Edinburgh International Award, a global initiative founded in 1956. The award program, operating in over 140 countries, encourages youth development through physical activities, volunteer work, and adventurous experiences. Susan Nganga, GBS News.
As the conflict between Israel and Hamas intensifies, more than 7,000 Kenyans remain stranded in Lebanon. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi reported that out of the estimated 26,000 Kenyans residing in Lebanon, 7,119 have registered for the evacuation as efforts to ensure their safe return are underway. To date, only 35 Kenyans have been repatriated from Lebanon as the Israel-Hamas conflict escalates. Principal Secretary Roslyn Njogu announced that another group of Kenyans is expected to return over the weekend as efforts to evacuate those stranded continue. Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi warned Kenyans against traveling to conflict zones including Lebanon amid the Israel-Hamas war. He stated that plans are underway for a mass evacuation, with authorities aiming to move citizens to safer areas before facilitating air transport for their return. The need to evacuate Kenyans from Lebanon comes at a time when the Kenya Kwanza administration is actively promoting work opportunities abroad. Principal Secretary Roslyn Njogu noted that over 180,000 Kenyans have sought employment overseas since the administration took office, highlighting both opportunities and challenges of diaspora employment amid global conflicts.
To expedite this process, a multi-agency team from Kenya, joined by officials from our embassy in Kuwait, have been dispatched to assist the Honorary Council to coordinate the activities. The government is also aware of the potential for a larger conflict in the Middle East and has requested all Kenyan ambassadors in the region to conduct a swift registration exercise of Kenyans in their jurisdiction. At this stage, we would also like to discourage Kenyans from traveling to countries that are experiencing this conflict or turmoil. They should not gamble. It's not a game out there. As I said, it's a protracted issue. It could take a long time, and that's why I said we are looking at other means, and I did indicate that we are also considering the possibility of evacuation by sea, so that you can get people to be sailed to a different destination, and then from there you make arrangements. So we are looking at different options.
The first one is that the total number of Kenyans who have come back is something like 35 Kenyans who government has evacuated in the first 3 cohorts. We are aware that a number of Kenyans have come back on their own initiative, on their own, funded by other agencies and partners. We are even aware that there is a group that arrives tonight that is privately funded. Over the weekend, the cohort 4 and 5, we're expecting over 30 to come in. And then as Waziri said, this is something that we expect will continue we will continue to do it this way. We are, of course, exploring opportunities to do larger scale evacuations, but as Waziri said, it is extremely expensive and the options now are limited. It is not what it was in August when we started the evacuation. Only one airline is flying, and it's extremely expensive to move people about.
In a significant development for Kenya's diplomatic future, the newly formed Council of the Foreign Service Academy was officially inaugurated by Principal Secretary Dr. Korir Sing'oei. The 7-member council aims to enhance diplomatic training and preparedness in an increasingly complex global landscape. Here are the details.
Kenya is taking a significant step in shaping its diplomatic future with the inauguration of the Council of the Foreign Service Academy, led by Principal Secretary Dr. Korir Sing'oei.
As you know, Your Excellency, Kenya adopted a foreign policy about 12 years ago, the very first foreign policy since independence. That foreign policy propounded in fairly broad terms our foreign policy doctrine and the broad direction that we should pursue.
The Council consists of representatives from key institutions, including the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, the National Treasury, and the Kenya School of Government. Its mission is to provide strategic policy guidance and enhance the skills of diplomats navigating today's global complexities.
Now, truth be told, is that Kenya has done very well, really, in matters of international diplomacy in recent times under His Excellency President William Ruto. The profile is very high, and the Prime CS has been in the forefront in putting the position very well. And I think more often than not, Kenya has been called upon to provide leadership in many instances.
With members like Dr. Patrick Maluki as chairman and representatives from various sectors, the council is said to play a crucial role in shaping the future of Kenya's diplomatic corps. Irene Juguna, GBS News.
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. That report brings us to our international news, but first let us take a quick commercial break.
Today we have amazing topic. Hey, turning passion into profit. Sijui passion yako ni gani? We are going to have a guest here mwenye anaenda kutuambia how she turned her passion into profit.
So I learned it from my mom. I guess nilichukua from my mom. And then my mom alichukua from her mom.
Inheritance.
And then her mom mimi nimenema after the mom. Oh my God. Wow. Kitu iko kwa damu. Sasa hiyo kitu ilinipea motivation. Like, kai, kumbe naweza shona hizi nguo by the way na niuzie mtu na abai. Ni make something out of it. So hiyo ndo motivation by the way. Nguo Christmas ndo ilikuwa motivation. Mnasemanga that family don't support each other. Me my family. Nasema my family imekuwa my greatest supporter. And then my friends. Because if it's an urgent order, hata mimi ukiangalia tu my WhatsApp, the first caption na kukujianga, we don't accept urgent orders.
Oh my God.
I need my time. Inaweza teneza earring,
key holders,
neck, chokers, key holders, what else? Mats, bottles,
So through the four gospel books, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, John, we can know the heart of Jesus in depth. And the Jesus that we can feel him through the scriptures, and I'm very thankful about that. Jesus Christ came to this earth for our sins. He carried our sins. And he was crucified, and he received the punishment for sins. And he was put into the tomb and resurrected in 3 days. This is the gospel that we speak. About how Jesus died for our sins. The purpose of Jesus being crucified. He was crucified to pay for our sins. And through Jesus being crucified, clearly our sins have been washed clean. However, unfortunately, many people still say that they are sinners.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the broadcast and now to matters. International news. In a heart-wrecking tragedy, over 140 lives were lost in northern Nigeria following a devastating tanker explosion in Jigawa State. As residents mourn the victims, questions arise about safety regulations and the desperate measures many take in the face of soaring fuel prices. Here are the details.
On Wednesday, local government officials joined hundreds of mourners in Majia for the mass burial of more than 140 victims of a catastrophic explosion. The tragedy unfolded when an overturned gasoline tanker erupted into flames as residents attempted to collect leaking fuel. Emergency services reported that most of the victims' bodies were left unrecognizable. The explosion occurred around midnight when the tanker driver lost control on the highway, leading to a chaotic scene as locals rushed to salvage the fuel. Tanker accidents are tragically common in Nigeria, where strict enforcement of safety regulation is often lacking. With a deficient railway system, fuel is frequently transported by road, putting lives at risk. The recent spike in fuel prices, tripling since the government ended gas subsidies, has driven many to take perilous actions in search of fuel.
I blame both we, the people, I also blame government. Because if the government is doing the right thing to ensure that citizens are good, that the welfare of citizens are priority to them, all this will not happen. But when people look around and see there's hunger everywhere, there's poverty everywhere, people are looking for what to help them. So because of that, they don't see the consequences of what they are doing. The first impression is, let me scoop and sell, or let me see can use.
This latest disaster follows another deadly accident in September, which claimed at least 48 lives in a similar incident. As the nation mourns, the call for improved safety measures and regulation enforcement grows louder, aiming to prevent future tragedies. Irene Juguna, GBS News.
The head of the military junta that seized power in Mali in 2020 promoted himself on Wednesday to the rank of Army General with special title, Colonel Assimi Goïta of the Land Army, the highest military distinction held only by two former heads of state in the country's history. The move by Goïta is a sign that he has no intention of ceding power to civilians in the landlocked West African country. Here is more on this same.
Colonel Assimi Goïta's promotion to the rank of Army General, the highest military distinction in Mali, signals a consolidation of power and further cement his control over the country. Goïta, who came to power following the August 2020 coup that ousted President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, has consistently positioned himself as the central figure in Mali's political landscape. His elevation to general, a rank historically reserved for only two former heads of state, demonstrate his determination to maintain authority and resist transitioning the government back to civilian rule. Rinda Yamori, a senior fellow at the Morocco-based Policy Center for the New South, highlighted that the promotion indicates the junta's leader's intention to retain control and limit the prospect of a civilian-led government. Since the 2022 coup, Mali has seen a delay in its transition to civilian governance. In 2021, a second coup led by Goïta removed the transitional president and prime minister, further complicating the roadmap to elections and stability. With no time for elections and increased militarization of the government, the likelihood of a return to civilian rule in the near future remains uncertain. The international community continues to urge the junta to commit a democratic transition, but recent developments indicate that Goïta and his allies are determined to hold on to power, reinforcing military dominance over Mali's political system. Paris Kigo, GB.
Yesterday in Cairo, the Egyptian and the Spain foreign ministers renewed calls for ceasefires in Gaza and Lebanon after the Israeli invasion to dismantle Hamas and Hezbollah, which resulted in humanitarian crisis in the region. The death toll in Gaza and Lebanon has risen to 42,438 and 2,367 people, respectively. Here is that report.
Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati hosted his Spanish counterpart, Jose Manuel Alvarez Bueno, in a joint press conference where both countries met to address bilateral trade relations and stressed the urgent need for peace in the region. The Egyptian Foreign Minister said in the press conference
that whatever power we reach cannot achieve security and peace unless there is a return of the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people. There is no security or stability in this region without the establishment of the Palestinian state.
Spain's foreign minister echoed these sentiments, pressing for an immediate and lasting ceasefire.
The immediate permanent ceasefire in Gaza and a truce in Lebanon. This is the request that Spain, together with Egypt and many other partners in the international community, have been making from the very first moment that this violence and this war broke out. Firstly in Gaza and secondly in Lebanon, which once again I would like to stress, we're talking about a sovereign state.
Spain is one of the 3 countries in Europe, along with Ireland and Norway, that recognize the Palestinian statehood. Spain's Prime Minister urged the US and Europe to stop providing military aid
a matter
to
of
Israel.
historical justice with the legitimate aspirations of the Palestine people, but it is also an imperative need to achieve peace.
Both countries emphasized the need for a diplomatic solution and international cooperation to end the violence in Palestine and Lebanon. This is Abdihamid Ali, GBS TV.
In early presidential election results released on Wednesday, Daniel Chapo of Mozambique's ruling party, the Front for the Liberation of Mozambique, is leading, according to provincial counts. Chapo, who is set to succeed outgoing President Filipe Nyusi, who has reached his 2-term limit, is showing a clear advantage in the race. Here's more.
Initial result released on Wednesday showed Daniel Chapo leading in all 11 provinces, making him likely to be the country's next president. But elections observers say they have doubt over the integrity of the poll, stating it did not meet international standards. They have reported issues including disorganized counting, poorly sealed ballot boxing, vote buying, inflated voters' rolls, and intimidation in some areas. Opposition candidate Vanasio Modlane, who is running as the independent, was the second behind Chapo in the early count, but repeated his claims that last week's elections was marred by fraud and manipulation by Frelimo.
We are in a situation that proves that we have a regime that is going to do everything it can to not lose the elections.
Mondlane has also called on Mozambicans to hold a national strike on Monday in protest at what he called the deceit of the most shameful level of the regime. Frelimo has often been accused of election rigging, which it denies. Many analysts raise concern ahead of this election, saying Frelimo manipulates voters' lists and traditionally has officials loyal to it working at polling stations. Frelimo has won every national election in Mozambique since the country's first in 1994.
No doubt that on the 9th, it's Chapo. No doubt, no doubt.
It came to power at independent, but then fought a bloody 15-year civil war against rebel group Renamo, which later became the main opposition party and also contested this election. Final results are expected on the 24th of October. Peres Kigo, GBS News.
Yesterday, a 5.9 magnitude earthquake struck Turkey at the southern eastern province of Malaysia yesterday. According to the country's Disaster and Emergency Management Authority, the earthquake caused significant damage to buildings, though fortunately no casualties have been reported. Here is more on this same.
In this video, a news reporter can be seen anxious as a 5.6 magnitude earthquake struck in Malaysia province. She goes under her desk for safety. There was chaos and pandemonium across the eastern province, with rocky debris falling on distressed civilians who were caught off guard by the earthquake. In this another viral video, a teacher gently evacuates a special needs student to safety during the earthquake. Turkey's Interior Minister Ali Yerilkaya confirmed that 3 buildings partially collapsed as a result of the tremor. However, there were no fatalities. Nearly 190 people were treated in the hospital. This earthquake comes after last year's 7.8 magnitude earthquake, which affected 17 provinces in Turkey and caused humanitarian crisis in the southeastern provinces, killing 53,537 people. It also caused mass destruction, turning what was once a beautiful city into a pile of rubble. This is Abdihamid Ali.
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. And now for sports lovers, it is time for your most anticipated part of the news. The sports news. Let's get sporty. The under-20 national football team, the Rising Stars, is gearing up for a crucial match against Burundi in the semi-finals of the AFCON CECAFA qualifiers on October 18th at the Azam Complex Stadium. They aim to secure a spot in the next year's under-20 Africa Cup of Nations after performing strongly in the tournament held in Tanzania. The team finished in the group stage unbeaten with 3 wins and a draw, dominating Group A with key victories including a 4-0 win against Sudan, where Aldrin Kibet scored a hat-trick. Coach Salim Babu praised his players' efforts and emphasized the need for focus against Burundi, noting that it will be a challenging game. Teams already qualified for the next year's tournament include South Africa, Zambia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Senegal, and Sierra Leone. The FA has announced Thomas Tuchel is the New England senior men's head coach and will be assisted by internationally renowned English coach Anthony Barry. The 51-year-old German, who is signed an 18-month contract, becomes the third non-British permanent manager of the men's team. The pair will begin work on the 1st of January 2025 ahead of the qualification process for the following year's FIFA World Cup finals due to be staged in Canada, Mexico, and the USA. Here are the details.
Thomas Tuchel, arrival at the FA, concludes an extensive recruitment search which began in July, just after 3 Lions ran to the UEFA Euro 2024 final. Gareth Southgate resigned in July after England's defeat by Spain in the Euro 2024 final. The decision to recruit Tuchel and Barry was approved by the FA board early last week, with Tuchel signing his contract. The announcement was delayed to minimize distraction around the international camp that had just concluded. Tuchel will be reuniting with Barry, having worked closely with Englishmen at Chelsea and Bayern Munich, and where together they won 4 trophies between both clubs. The pair will bring a small backroom team with them to St. George's Park, with a further coaching update expected in the near future. Interim head coach Lee Carsley will remain in charge of the 3 Lions through to the conclusion of the UEFA Nations League group stage next month, with the decisive games away to Greece and at home to Republic of Ireland. He will then return to lead England's defence of the UEFA Under-21 Euro title after qualification for the finals next summer was secured this weekend. Carsley will return to manage England Under-21 when Tuchel takes over. Reporting for GBS TV, I am John Kinyan.
Athletics Kenya has warned athletes to follow Kenya Revenue Authority rules after Jocelyn Chebkosgei and Daniel Ebenyo had their belongings seized at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport for not paying customers' duty. Chebkosgei, who returned from Chicago Marathon, faced a demand for over 19,000 Kenya shillings for her bags of training shoes intended for her teammates. Daniel Ebenyo's items were also held due to their value exceeding 350,000 Kenya shillings. KRA stated that goods worth under 260,000 Kenya shillings are exempt from customs duty, but anything above that requires payment. Barnaba Koril from Athletics Kenya emphasized that athletes must inform the organization about their equipment before returning to avoid issues, reinforcing that rules must be followed to prevent complications with KRA. Pogba's 4-year ban was reduced to 18 months earlier this month after the Court of Arbitration for Sport accepted his ingestion of a banned substance was not intentional. The 31-year-old was suspended by Italy's National Anti-Doping Tribunal in February after a drug test found elevated levels of testosterone, a hormone that increases endurance in his system. The reduced ban started from 11th September 2023, with sources close to the Pogba telling BBC Sport that he can resume training in January and will be eligible to play again from March. Here is more on the same.
Club level across 2 spells with Manchester United and his 2 stints with Juventus. Pogba joined Juventus, reuniting with the Italian club in 2022 after his contract at Manchester United expired. He featured just 12 times across all competitions after returning to Turin, with injuries restricting his game time in 2022-2023, while he played just twice last season before he was pulled for the positive test. Pogba remains under contract with Juventus. His deal is set to expire in the summer of 2026 and is looking forward to getting back to training with the rest of the squad. Pogba has made his debut for France in 2013 and has won 91 caps, scoring 11 goals. His last appearance for Les Blues came in March 2022 in a friendly against South Africa. Paul Pogba won the World Cup with France in 2018. Despite such a lengthy spell out of the game and a plethora of options for France boss Didier Deschamps to choose from, Paul Pogba expressed a desire to return to the international fold. Reporting for GBS TV, I am John Kinyanjui.
That sports news brings us to the end of our news segment tonight. Here at GBS News and 9, we make your news our business. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Paul Mathenge. Good night.
Everywhere, GBS.